Do you feel you were fortunate last Saturday?
I think so, yeah. We were fortunate in that when you take the stats and you consider Auburn had 438 yards rushing, 500 yards of offense, and you consider that their field goal kicker missed 3 and ours made 3. Yeah, we were fortunate, but we've been fortunate all year long, and I think that I must say that in addition to fortune, that I have to praise our team too for hanging in there and coming back and having a chance late, which we've done all year. We've come back and we had a chance and couldn't quite pull it off. But in a lot of ways, we were fortunate to even be in the ball game.
On the William Andrews run at the half, what did you think? What went through your mind?
Well, I thought I sure messed up because what helped the run was that we were going to put pressure on Trotman, the passer, and this happens sometimes. I've seen it happen when you're blitzing and running through, and the back will go by you as you go in the other way, and that's what happened. And it was a great run, and I was like all the Georgia people, just waiting, sweating, rather that those two hands would go up, and I was so relieved when they didn't go up.
What about Auburn? Have they got a chance against Alabama?
Yeah, I think so. I really believe Auburn is a very physical football team. I don't normally underestimate a team, and I really didn't underestimate Auburn, but they were as strong or even stronger, really, than I'd anticipated. And I think they've got some problems worked out defensively. I think the questions will be if Auburn can stop the option game of Alabama, and then if Alabama's defense is going to force Auburn to throw some. And so these are the questions, but physically I believe Auburn can stack up with them, and I'll tell you, I'll be pulling for them, and if there's anything I can do to help, I'll be standing by.
Well, I don't think there's any question, but you're going to see a significant change in the makeup of the committees. We have 11 incumbent senators returning. We have 10 new senators coming over from the House, and we have 14 new senators, people who were not previously in the legislature. So from that standpoint, you're going to have a change, but also you're going to have a change because before I appoint people to the Senate Finance and Taxation Committee, I'm going to be certain that they are committed to putting in the kind of long hours that it's going to take to give us a budget that members of the legislature can understand and to be completely aware of at the time they vote on such a budget in the Senate.
With over half of the Senate being new, do you see any problems in keeping the reins tight over them?
Well, I'm not particularly interested in keeping the reins tight. What I'm interested in doing is having a hard-working, orderly state Senate. And I think that the vast majority of individuals who've been elected to serve in the state Senate for the next 4 years share my commitment to this goal. So I anticipate that we will work hand in hand, and what I want to be is a positive catalyst, a positive force to give us a legislative process that the people of this state can respect and a legislature in which they can have confidence.
This man is 36-year-old Johnny Harris. He's under a death sentence for the 1975 knife murder of a prison guard. Johnny Harris is one of the state's 38 death row inmates, and he's become something of a celebrity in recent years because of his contention that he wasn't given a fair trial, that he did not commit murder, and that he was being used as a campaign issue by the chief prosecutor. Yesterday, we talked with Harris in a small room next to the electric chair at Holman Prison near Atmore, Alabama.
Why do you feel that you should not die in the electric chair, which is a few inches from us, for the murder of this man?
For several reasons. Number one would be that I haven't done anything to be given the death penalty for.
You did not kill nobody?
No, I did not kill anybody. And the state agreed with me on this because they said during the trial proceedings in Birmingham that they wasn't saying that I actually held the knife that killed the guard. So that wasn't their contentions. So that's one reason I don't feel that I was supposed to be them other few inches
Over here.
over there
In
in
that
the
next
chair.
room.
Right. All right. Secondly is because I feel that I have been being used from the very beginning by Bill Baxter and his office, the prison system and their officials on this whole incident, because several prison officials that was at Fountain when this incident happened.
Fountain is a few miles west of here.
West of here, right. Could verify the fact that I didn't do anything if they was willing or either man enough to stand up and tell the truth. That's secondly. I haven't done anything to be given the death penalty for.
Wait a minute, are you saying that there are prison officials in the Alabama
That is
Corrections
aware
Board
of
who
the
know
fact.
that you did not kill Lou
That is
Barron?
aware of the fact that I did not kill Lou Barron. They is aware of the fact that I not only didn't kill Lou Barron, but I didn't put any marks on anybody during the whole protest. I came in no violent contact with nobody. Not as an assassin or however you want to, word that. And they could prove this if they would just be willing to come forward with it. They don't want to come forward with it because several of the state officials stated that I needed to be used for an example to bring by law and order in the penitentiary.
Can you name these prison officials?
Well, no, I would rather not,
Okay,
based upon the advice of my attorneys.
You're
right.
telling me that you faced a death penalty and you would not name the persons who you say could save your life, possibly?
Well, based upon the advice of my attorneys, no, I wouldn't name them.
Will there ever be a time that you will name them? Okay, you're facing the electric chair.
Right.
And on the advice of your attorneys, you would not name these people at any point. Would you ever name them?
Will I ever name them? Yes, there will be a day and time when I will name them.
Tomorrow, part 2 of our conversation with Johnny Harris at Holman. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News, Holman Prison, Escambia County, Alabama.
Two of the children from St. Jude's accompanied their teacher to Alabama State University. They got first look at the large assortment of toys members of the Phi Beta Sigma fraternity had collected for them. Today's donation culminated a month-long Toys for Tots campaign in which fraternity members went into the community collecting Christmas gifts for St. Jude's children. Fraternity President Darrell Lewis made the presentation.
On behalf of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated Gamma Beta Chapter, we're proud to present you, Ms. Cummings, and your beautiful children with the toys that we've collected throughout the city of Montgomery.
Thank you very much, and on behalf of the City of St. Jude and all our children, from the deepest appreciation, thank you.
Thank you.
Lewis says this is just one of many projects his fraternity has initiated throughout the year to help the unfortunate. Glenda Webb, WSFA TV News.
It is the blessings the Lord has bestowed on us that has brought about Thanksgiving Day, and it was in His house that many Montgomeryans spent the morning giving thanks. The spiritual aspect of Thanksgiving, a day that is rejoiced with feasts of turkey, dressing, pies, and a counting of blessings. This morning, people joined in for services in Montgomery's First United Methodist Church.
Lord, we would with deep thanksgiving praise Thee most for things unseen. And indeed, we are perhaps the most thankful for those aspects of life which we cannot touch with our hands, but which prevail nonetheless in our lives.
For centuries, people throughout the world have set aside a time following the harvest of the crops to honor Mother Nature, good weather, and to say thanks to God. Here in the United States, Thanksgiving began shortly after the first colonists settled in Massachusetts. The primary focus of the day was spiritual, and it has remained so today. Dr. Butts noted that in the next 12 months, 8 times the number of people in Alabama will die from malnutrition and starvation around the world. He also noted that a third of what goes on your table and on your plates ends up in the garbage can. Because of such plentifulness on our part, we should be appreciative for the many blessings. It was for such tradition and condition that the congregation sang songs of thanks to the Lord. Chris Grimshaw, WSFA TV News.
While most celebrated Thanksgiving at home with loved ones, there were a few who could not get away for the holidays. Such are the inmates in the Montgomery City Jail. The prisoners did not, however, miss out on the traditional holiday meal with trimmings. About 50 inmates were treated to turkey and dressing with cranberry sauce, English peas, homemade rolls, and sweet potato pie. And to top that off, every single one of them got room service. The meal was prepared and then wheeled into the cell blocks for distribution. About 30 minutes later, the empty dishes were returned to the kitchen. The warden of the city jail, J.B. Sims, says most of the prisoners enjoy the special meal, which will be very similar on Christmas Day. What sort of plans do you have for the Christmas dinner?
Just about on the same line, not much difference. About the same as Thanksgiving.
Have you noticed an increase in the price of how much it costs to feed the prisoners a meal on Thanksgiving and Christmas over the last several years you've been here?
It's slowly edging up. I'd say in the last year or two it's gone up 10 to 15%.
The inmates here at the Montgomery City Jail ate very well indeed this Thanksgiving Day 1978, and I can attest to that. Dennis Latham, WSFA TV News.
It was something of a whirlwind tour for the visiting engineers and technicians from Red China. The 16-member delegation spent just 45 minutes at the site of the $46 million Columbus Lock and Dam before boarding their bus for the Aberdeen Lock and Dam. The delegation was led by this woman, Madam Kuo Ching, the vice chairman of the Engineering Society of the People's Republic of China. Unfortunately, the local media were kept at arm's length from the visitors. Reporters were barred from briefing this morning, nor were they allowed to meet with the Chinese delegation during a noon luncheon, and no interviews were permitted during the tour of the lock and dam. And those were the orders from this man, Ross Feltz of a Pittsburgh engineering firm, who is representing the U.S. State Department on this nationwide tour of water projects. Dressed in conservative Western clothes, the Chinese visitors displayed no outward enthusiasm, but this is what they saw. A huge concrete lock and dam at Columbus, one of 10 along the 253-mile waterway which links the Tennessee River with the Tom Bigby River, which then connects into the Gulf of Mexico at Mobile, Alabama. From the Columbus Lock and Dam in Columbus, Mississippi, I'm Pat Lynn reporting for WSFA News.
Holman Prison, Escambia County, Alabama. The state keeps its rapists and murderers here, men who have committed acts of violence that prompted juries in Alabama's 67 counties to sentence them to life here or death in the electric chair. Death row is located in the southernmost wing of this prison. Men on death row are segregated from other violent criminals incarcerated here at Holman. Johnny Harris has been on death row since 1975 after his conviction for the murder of a prison guard. Harris was serving 5 life sentences when the incident occurred during a prison uprising at another prison facility a few miles from here. Johnny Harris says several state corrections officials know he is innocent, but says they lied on the witness stand during his trial. In our conversation with Harris, he repeatedly denied he killed anyone, but he says if he knew who committed the murder, he wouldn't tell.
I have any idea who killed them. I know I didn't. And I can't.
If you knew who killed him, you wouldn't tell me, would you?
If I knew who killed him, I wouldn't tell anybody because of this. It don't have any bearings on me.
You mean even if you had to go to the chair, you still wouldn't tell who killed Lou Barron? You say
No.
you didn't do it.
No,
You say you didn't do it, but you wouldn't tell who did it.
no.
Even if you had to die in the chair over here?
Dying is part of the price that we pay for living. I mean, I don't fear death, but I want to live as long as I can. So what good would it do me to just say condemn another person to death in order to save my own life? That wouldn't be a reasonable thing to do. We mentioned a while ago that I knew several state officials that could testify to the fact that I didn't kill Barron.
Right, and you were reluctant to name them.
One of them would be the ex-warden of Fountain Correctional Center, Marion B. Harden, because in his 15 or 16-page statement that he wrote out, he verified the fact that I hadn't killed anyone. He verified the fact that I hadn't did anyone any bodily harm. He verified the fact that I was nowhere around the guard when he got killed. See what I'm saying?
This is in a written statement.
This is in a written statement that was wrote out by the ex-warden of Fountain Correctional Center. Secondly is Arthur Tredden. The statement that he wrote out for the state investigators didn't put me in any incriminating position. It didn't link me up with guard death in no kind of way.
More conversation with Johnny Harris in our next and final report on Friday's 6 o'clock report. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News, Holman Prison, Escambia County, Alabama.
So what happened to the statements?
The festivities preluding the oldest football rivalry in the state got underway bright and early this morning. Although no one knew the outcome of this afternoon's match between Alabama State University and Tuskegee Institute, confident fans were eagerly placing bets on their favorite team. Leading the Alabama State University homecoming parade were the renowned ASU Marching Hornets, followed by the reigning Miss ASU. Before 1975, when only male students were allowed to join the band, people would travel across the nation to watch the Dancing Hornets. However, the addition of women didn't seem to hamper the band's performance. Many observers say this parade was the biggest and the best in many years. There were approximately 200 entries in this year's extravaganza, including high school bands from across Alabama and Georgia, beauty queens, alumni organizations, and tiny tots. It was a beautiful morning for a parade, and that thought was apparently shared by many, judging from the estimated 20,000 onlookers who lined both sides of Dexter Avenue. The 2-hour procession seemed to put everyone in the mood for turkey, but most importantly, for the Turkey Bowl. Janet May, WSFA TV News.
Lanier B.
This is the 31st year the Marines are collecting toys for needy children. They took their Toys for Tots campaign to Montgomery Mall yesterday and today, the first time they've set up in a mall. Traditionally, they've had donation boxes in stores across the city. The Marine Reserves hope the toys will make Christmas a little brighter for kids who might otherwise have to do without. Yesterday at the mall, they collected 486 toys, and the campaign coordinator, Staff Sergeant Kenneth Hall, says today's collection will be double that amount. Hall says the goal for this year is 46,000 toys. He said they met their goal last year of 30,000. The campaign started November 6th this year and will end December 15th. So far, Hall says they have collected over 5,000 toys, and with today's intake and collections made at convenience stores around town, he expects to add 10,000 toys to their inventory. Hall set up his booth this year near telephones so that donations could be called in and arrangements set for reserves to pick up toys. The reserves are also planning a bluegrass concert for December 6th to raise money to buy new toys. It'll all go toward achieving that goal of 45,000 toys and a Merry Christmas for underprivileged children. Glenda Webb, WSFA TV News.
Last night there was supposed to be a concert by the Commodores at the Montgomery Civic Center. It did not happen, and there were a lot of disappointed people. In fact, about 15,000, a sellout crowd. William Wack King of the Commodores says they regret the problems with the concert in their hometown area, but some things could not be helped.
Well, the main problem was that we did our last performance in Seattle, Washington. And, of course, Seattle is at the other end of the United States. And the night of the performance, it snowed about from 9 to 11 inches. And we really got in the bind because the driver said that they did not think that they could make it back here to Montgomery, Alabama in time to do the show. So we decided that we would get some extra drivers to help them drive back here to Montgomery, Alabama, so that we could do the show on that particular date. And before they pulled out, it snowed 2 more inches of snow. One of the limousines had an accident with another semi-truck, and the drivers just said that they did not feel that they could make it back in time, but they would give it a shot. So we had a choice, and we had two choices. One was to go ahead and try to do the performance, hoping that the vehicles would get here in time, which incurred a mighty big problem, because if they did not get here in time, we would have had around 15,000 people sitting in an auditorium and no equipment. The other choice was to cancel the performance and put it on at a later date. So it was like the best of two evils. And so we decided that the best thing was not to take the chance that the equipment was going to make it.
King says they will reschedule the concert for sometimes around New Year's Eve. Dennis Latham, WSFA TV News. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and the Christmas shopping rush is on. Today, most of the large shopping areas in Montgomery were full or near full of hunters of the elusive after Thanksgiving Day bargain sale. There were constant streams of shoppers going in and out of the many shops in the city. One local merchant said that so far the Christmas rush hasn't been that much of a rush.
It's a little slower than last year, though. We've had more people coming in just looking and more planning to buy, 2 weeks from now for Christmas. And what we're trying to do is get people to come in, get their cheese, get their gifts, mail it off to California, wherever, sooner than last year.
Are people tending to buy more less expensive things or less more expensive things?
No, we've had a lot of people coming in buying in large quantities. Like a lot of businessmen in town have been coming in getting the cheese packets and gifts for their customers. And they've been tending to be less expensive, but individuals coming in are getting more expensive stuff. They're tending towards the more esoteric gifts, more stuff in them, a wider diversity of things in the gift itself instead of just a smaller number of things. So I'd say they're spending more money on larger gifts overall.
It stands to reason if there are this many folks on their way to and from shopping, there are also lots of vehicles. Most of the city's intersections near the large shopping areas were very busy throughout the day. Some were worse than others, especially if there was construction in progress. In those areas, it seemed as if there was a constant flow of vehicles because of the slowed traffic. The Montgomery police are reported to have special units on or near the southern and eastern bypasses, but our cameras were unable to find any. The shopping aisles might have been crowded and the highways full, but most people seemed to be enjoying the holidays and the shopping. Dennis Latham, WSFA TV News.
The investment scheme is called the Circle of Gold. Its concept is similar to a chain letter, but that illegality has been circumvented. Here's how it works. You are approached by someone who has what is called a memo, a set of instructions on how to make a possible $100,000. You buy the memo from the person for $50. Your first job is then to mail another $50 to the first of 12 names on an attached list of prior purchasers. You put your name at the bottom of that list. Make 2 copies of the whole thing, then try to sell your 2 copies to a couple of your friends. The $100 originally spent is made back when you sell your copies for $50 each. The instructions call for you to then wait until your name filters to the top. The key of the operation is to sell your copies to people you trust, people who will not break the chain. Theoretically, in 12 days, you should receive $50 from over 2,000 people. The Postal Inspector Service is maintaining that the operation is illegal because it operates on the ingredients of a lottery: consideration, a prize, and chance. They say it's illegal to further a lottery through the mail. Montgomery Postmaster J.D. Williams says the penalties are stiff.
I believe the fine is $1,000 for participating in a lottery.
All right, and this would apply to not only those who receive and participate, but also to those who initiate the chain letter.
Well, those who receive a chain letter, if they don't participate in it, then they are not guilty of a violation. But if they do participate in it and pursue it further, then they become a party to the lottery.
In addition to the fine, a year's imprisonment faces violators. Although there has not been anyone available to confirm the police's position, indications are that the entire operation is legal and above board. The participants say there is no law against just sending money through the mail. The memo is hand-delivered when sold and never mailed, thus eliminating the chain letter status. While attorneys have reportedly looked over the memo, also finding no legal violations, it's reported that lawyers, doctors, and other upper-middle-class citizens are the biggest investors, some buying several memos at $50 each. Police, however, are quick to point out that it can be a ripoff. Their main point of argument is in math. If the chain is unbroken in 12 days and all involved do as they should, over 2,000 people will have your name. That means that in 28 days, it would take nearly 67 million people to make the operation work. It's unclear whether the local officials' stand will supersede the postal authorities' position, but it doesn't really matter. Postal authorities act only when official complaints are filed, and Postmaster Williams says they've not gotten a single complaint, and the memo has reportedly been in circulation in the Montgomery area for over 3 weeks. Chris Grimshaw, WSFA TV News.